Mobile grading allows you to be able to track all of your academic needs for your students all in one place using a web version of it that you can access from anywhere. Your instructors may be able to access from anywhere, and your students can also have a login to be able to track their own services and practicals or any procedures that they've completed or any grades that they have received. So this allows you to have admin logins, instructor logins, as well as logins for your students, which will then allow them to stay on track and know exactly what they have completed and what they haven't. There's a few different ways that you'll be able to manage it once you're using it. For example, you can have the students enter their services and procedures and then just have an instructor grade them, or you can assign the instructors or the educators to always enter all of the procedures and grade them as well. I'm going to show you a few different things here, just give you an overview, but remember that overall you will be able to manage this in different ways and customize it. Everything that I'm going to show you here is examples, and they're just student examples and different examples for services that might be in there, but you will be able to completely customize the list of services, the list of procedures. You can make it match your practical sheets exactly the way that you need to for any reporting for the state. And so you're really able to go in there and customize that. I am going to have lots of examples in here, but just keep that in mind that all of the services that you see, the students' names, the instructors' names, that's going to be reflective of what you enter into your system, okay? So I'm going to log in as an educator or as an instructor right now. So every instructor will have their own login, and they'll be able to then see the information for their students. So you'll be able to dictate this instructor can only see information for their classrooms, or this instructor has access to all the students. And so the first thing they'll be able to see is today's completed evaluation. So that's the way we word it in here, but basically it's any procedures or services that have been completed and graded for the day. Today will be listed here. Any that are in process would be listed here. So what that gives you the idea is that ideally, if you wanted to, when a student starts a service, they can actually log in from a tablet, log in from a phone, because it is a web version. If you wanted to allow them to do that, you can add a kiosk onto your salon floor or onto your classrooms. If you wanted to do that, the students can actually go in there and say when they're starting a service, and that's what the in process would indicate. Now, you don't have to use that feature. A lot of schools do, but if you wanted to, it's there for you. You can also have the instructors or the educators enter when a service is being started, or the process have started, or they can just come in here at the end of the day and just enter all the procedures for the day or whatnot, whichever way is going to work best for you. But we're going to go ahead and just say start new service here. So I'm an instructor and I'm adding a procedure or starting a service here that a student is doing. A lot of these things that I'm going to enter can just be defaulted, of course. If you have multiple schools, then you would have that drop down list there. If you want to document what station the student was working on, if it's going to be on like a live person and there's some type of ID that you need to use, you can do that there. I'm going to select the student that is doing this procedure and then what type in here. So I'm going to click add service. So the top portion is just basically giving basic information as to what student is doing it, what station, what school. All of those items will be defaulted as well as you start using it. I'm just entering examples here, but then you have your categories. So all of your procedures or your practical items, anything that you grade for will be entered in here with its categories. So I actually have categories here like chemical services, for example, and then it's going to give me the items that belong under that category. So it just filters it for you, but basically all your services, anything that you want to be able to grade for will be entered in here. Then I'm going to click save service, and that's just going to document that that service is being done or that procedure is being completed by that student that we just did. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then that'll go ahead and save that. And that's basically indicating that that student is working on that. So again, you can have your students enter that themselves and then just have the instructors go in and grade it, or you can assign the instructors to be responsible for everything, entering the services and grading them. So if they're starting that service, I can go start right over here. And then these items here is your grading modules basically. Now this is completely an example that we have in here. These categories like the greeting, the consultation, the technical skills, guest relationship, those can indicate whatever you want it to be. So whatever methods you use for grading, whatever scales you use, these don't have to be numbers. This is a 0 to 10 scale, but you can use a letter system if you wanted to, or you can just use a pass or not pass, or completed or not completed. So every school, every state does things a little bit differently. Some locations just want to know whether it was completed or not. Some locations need to know how well that procedure was completed. So as an instructor, you would just go down here and enter how you're grading each and one of these categories. And again, this is just an example of all the things that we grade in here. You can have only one item in here. You can have two. You can have every single item that you have to review for every single service. You can also upload pictures of the service if you needed to, or enter any comments as an instructor for feedback for your student. Remember that if you want to, you can have your students log in and be able to view their grades and be able to view their completed procedures. So you can enter any feedback or notes that the student can then review when they're looking at their grades. So you would enter that there, then save and submit the complete grade. And so that would save that procedure, and then you can see here it just gets added to the completed evaluations for the day. So at the end of the day, all the instructors can log in and see everything that they've graded for the day and just review that. And then of course you will have an area in here for reports as well, so you'll be able to come in here and run any reports. The other really neat part about when the students log in, the student will log in and only be able to see the services that they've completed, and they will be able to run their own reports for the services that they've completed as well. Again, that's optional if you want to give your students access to do that, but if you did, they're able to really stay on track and know exactly how much they've completed, know exactly all the procedures they've done, how many more they need to do, and what they need to focus on. So it gives you a really modern way for your students. Any student's going to be able to log in from their phone, from their tablet, or from any mobile device that you choose, and that allows them to really stay on track and know exactly what they need to do without having to go in and ask you all the time. But again, that's optional. You have the option to give your students access to be able to log in and view their information, as well as you have the access to come in here and view that. Now, of course, like I said, all of these are just examples of what services and what everything would look like in here, but you will be able to completely manage that. So in the beginning, we will get you all set up. We will import your services or your procedures or your practicals to make everything match exactly how you need to grade it. And then you'll have all of the reports needed in here. And again, the same thing with any other one of our reports. Any of our reports can be generated, can be emailed to you or to anybody else, and they can also be scheduled to be sent to anybody on a regular basis. So if you find that you're having to send a report monthly to anybody or anything in that kind of format, you can schedule it so that that's automatically sent as well. So this allows you to really manage all of your academic performance in here, your grades, and then if you are using this in conjunction with the time clock, then you'll have your students' time and attendance together, and then you'll have your students' grading, progress reports, or any other academic types of reports that you need. You want to keep in mind that if there's any specific report that your state requires, you can always let us know which one it is. If we don't already have a template for it, if we don't already have a school that uses it, then we can create that report for you as well. So that gives you an overview there of what that would look like. Again, I logged in as an instructor, and this is how your instructors would be coming in here and entering their grades. Again, it's a web-based mobile grading. That's why we call it mobile grading. So then your instructors would be able to log in from home if you want them to, from their devices, any mobile devices. If that's easier, you can also in the future install kiosks in the classrooms, or just have them be able to access it from any other laptops or computers in the school. That way they can enter their grades at their convenience. So every school will have their own routine as to, all grades get entered by the end of the day, or grades get entered as they get done. So whatever's going to work for you guys, that's how we'll set it up in here as well. And so that gives you an overview of the mobile grading and how that would look, a little bit of idea. If you have any other further questions, don't hesitate to contact us.